Good evening, all, and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. I'm JP, and joining me tonight, my good man Ryan, and we're joined again by the Sheffield Wednesday captain. It is Mr. Barry Bannan. Well, guys, we've had an eventful weekend. Baz, your season comes to an end, mate, and Rangers' season comes to an end yesterday also with a draw at Ibrox. The points gap still stays at 17. And Celtic are on course to totally obliterate yet another league mate. But how are we? How was your weekend and how are we doing tonight, boys?
Good, mate. Quiet. Obviously played the game on Saturday. Got back home quite late that evening, so that was good to. We never got what we wanted in the 3 points, but we got a good draw. Went down there and went ahead, and maybe could have been a few up at half time. They scored just before half time, which kind of changes the game for them. So, no, but it was good to. We had a great following down there again at the weekend. Amazing. So it was good to send him back. No happy, but no sad because we never lost the game. So it was a good way to finish the season and a good send off to some of the boys that probably won't be there next year. So all in all, I was happy, and obviously we'll touch on Sunday a bit more detail in a bit. But I watched that game on Sunday as well, and I enjoyed it. Obviously, I don't think it was an amazing game for the spectacle, but it's a good point at the end of the day. So I'm sure we'll touch on it a bit more.
Yeah, and Ryan, how are you, mate? It's good to see you again.
Aye, all good, mate. Obviously, like Baz says here about the game, I don't think quality-wise it was up there as the best, but I'll always say you always take a draw at Ibrox. Obviously, circumstances, if you had to win the game or to win the league, etc., then you wouldn't be happy, but normally when you go to Ibrox and don't get beat, you'll normally take it, especially if you don't perform to your best. So, overall, mate, I don't think we'll have any qualms about the point. Probably could have won the game if we maybe took 1 or 2 chances in the second half, but I don't think we've any qualms about it, mate. We can, like you say, we're going on a treble now, hopefully 17 points clear. Aye, maybe the record against the misses might not look the best, but I don't think we can really have any qualms about the kind of basically end result, basically, mate. So I am all good, mate, and hope everybody else is having a good bank holiday weekend as well.
Yeah, and just as Ryan says that, we'll come to some comments, I think, before we get started on tonight's show. We've got Ange M in the chat, evening JP, Ryan, Barry, and the chat. Plunge has joined us. Plunge says, evening boys, he's just watching the snooker. Good on you, mate. Pat McLaughlin's joining us also. This could be it now. Plunge, he says. Must be about the snooker, not the podcast. G-Doc says, good evening all. Stevie's in as well. Good evening, champions. Hail, hail. Hail, hail to yourself. And G-Doc comes back in. He says he had a fiver on 2-2. Well, that's it, folks. Please gamble responsibly if you are watching. Don't be doing anything that I wouldn't be putting mad bets on. But yes, it is, as I said at the beginning, Monday night, but as a dial-in, we've got some callers coming in. Before we get there, Baz, obviously, it's the last derby of the season, mate. Celtic are away from home, they're at Ibrox. Before the game, as Ryan says, mate, the object to the game, I'd imagine, would have been not to lose the game. For all Celtic fans watching, we did want to win. However, that wasn't to be, but it was better to walk away with something than nothing. And obviously, the points gap at the top of the table stays the same, mate.
Aye, definitely. I think if you can't win these games, you make sure you don't lose them. I think when you go behind as well right before half time, it's a big turning point in the game. But the reaction at second half was brilliant. That could have spurred them on. Could have it definitely changed their team talk at half time, because I think that goal doesn't go in for Rangers at 44, 45 minutes. I think Brendan would have been quite happy with how the first half was gone. Started off as you do, shaky, tentative, probably a wee bit panicky. But then as the game went on, 20 minutes after 20 minutes, I thought Celtic moved the ball brilliantly and found the gaps and beat their press really easy. The only thing that I was disappointed with yesterday, and I think probably with the personnel that we had out, probably affected this. I think when we beat the press in the first half, we ended up coming back and letting them get back into their shape. And I think that's when you miss Kuhn and your Jotas, who are more direct. I thought James Forrest was the best player in the park yesterday until he went off. I thought he was brilliant. So I'm not saying he was direct. I think Maeda on the other side killed us a few times where we're beating the press and getting it to him, and he would play it back to Greg Taylor, which allowed him to come back. And that's how I've always preferred Dyson through the middle. He obviously, listen, this season, he's the goals from wide as well speak for themselves. But I think if you beat the press like we were at numerous times in the first half on Sunday, if you've got Jota and Kuhn, I think you're finishing up in their box with a shot or a cross or a chance. Or whereas yesterday we were coming back and we were keeping the ball again for a couple of seconds. But I was disappointed with that in the first half. But I thought second half they were good. Listen, you go there and we've lost the last 2 games against them. I think we dominated. We were quite comfortable and controlled the game yesterday without really hurting them. But I never felt that we were in any... I didn't think we were in any trouble at any point in the game. I think their biggest chances, apart from their goal, were set plays, which we'll touch on as well. But no, I was happy with it. I think you said you always want to go and beat them, but if you can't win the games, you make sure you don't lose them. And I think you take it at the end of the day. I think they'll probably look back some of the players and think, I heard McGregor afterwards saying, could have done a wee bit more. We could have won the game. And I think they'll probably look at that and think they could have won the game because it was there. But as you said, you make sure you don't lose them because the league's sewed up. We're champions, so you just make sure you don't lose the games if you can't win them.
Yeah, we've got our first caller in tonight waiting just now, but just before we bring him in, Plunge said, JP, did you know that the Squirrel Bar has reopened? I did, mate. I've actually been in. I was at this is how old you're getting now when your missus is buying you tickets for what's called a day disco. So you go in at 3 o'clock and you come out at 8 in the Barra's Art and Design building. And I was at that just back in February there, at the beginning of February. And it was excellent. And then after that, just we hit one for the road, and that's where we ended up in the Squirrel Bar. So yeah, mate, I did know that was open, but it's under new management now. So it's them that used to own. What's the bar that was in the town? Bar. Gallagher's Bar. Yes, that's how Gallagher's Bar now is closed in the town. It's the owners that now own the new Squirrel Bar. So yeah, I've been in it, mate. Right, Ryan, obviously, hold that thought, mate. As Baz was talking about the game there and parts of the game, we will come to that. But we will get our first caller in tonight. It is indeed our good man. He was on last week as well, for you that might remember him. It is indeed Terry McDermott, as our name is Francis Lester. Good evening, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. Good evening, boys. Good evening, Barry.
Evening, Francis. You all right, mate?
I'm good, pal. I'm good.
Good.
I'm good. Now that we're still simply the best as our new walk-on song.
Yeah.
What hurt them there, eh? Them no winning or them losing that walk-on song. I don't know if you've seen the social media the day, but they're all going to.
Yeah, I've actually seen a few things. Obviously, Celtic have released a new toy this morning of this. So there we go. It is now, as I've been told, it's now in the Celtic superstores for all to buy, along with your new Celtic top that comes out on the 14th of May.
That's my old bird for 1982. Excuse me. Oh dear. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. No, as Barry says, and on the game itself, it wasn't much of a spectacle, you know. I think there was only about the only thing the first half. Big Eda was annoying the life out of me. That underhit pass for Forrest, and then the Saturday missed, which led to them getting up the other part and scoring. I was raging with him at half time, but then he turned up in the second half and put one away, so I forgave him. But it wasn't much a game. It was a typical end of season, didn't matter game for me, you know.
I was actually just going to ask your overall thoughts on the game, Francis. Did you just think it was an end of the season?
Aye,
sort of...
it was. I think they were there for the beating. Maybe I don't think we got out a second or third gear. I felt that we, as Barry said, we controlled the majority of the game. And once we got our passing going, we were keeping the ball up. I mean, they didn't even have a shot on target in the second half. You know what I mean? When you look, that was one of the stats that came out in Sky at the end. They didn't have a shot in the second half on target. So I think if we had up to level, and maybe obviously missing Kuhn and Jota, you know what I mean, I think affected that. And obviously Johnson for his open. I felt that Ralston, he done really well. I thought he played really well yesterday. But for me, I always get that kind of thing with him that he's scared to overlap. You know, he's scared to get caught out of position. So he doesn't overlap as much on the right as Johnson does, you know, to link the play. And that was the only thing I felt we really lacked in that side. And obviously with Dyson being out on the left, you know, I mean, again, I think I just like him through the middle much better, 100%. I think he just gives us a lot more of a threat, definitely, you know. But obviously with the injuries we had and the players that weren't available, then that was the way it had to go. But I thought, as I say, they scored out of nothing. You know what I mean? I was a bit annoyed with Scales that he never put in a better challenge on him when he got the ball. I think he could have, you know, guided him away for getting onto his left. You know, he kind of let him just brush him out the way. You know, but at the end of the day, very say if you don't win it, don't lose it. You know, so at the end of the day, I was quite happy.
Yeah, Ryan, I'll bring you back in there. Obviously, the lads have had a wee, and I know I normally bring you in after Barry talks, but it was just because obviously time was pushing on. I thought I'd bring Francis into the chat. In terms of what Francis is saying there, you know, the goal we concede, you look at that in isolation, Celtic get punished. We try to take a quick free kick. In my opinion, we probably in that moment don't have to. We are away from home. It is a derby. Just calm down a wee bit, let the lads get up, let them try and set. Who knows, we might have won a header or a knock on or whatever. But as Francis says, it really, really comes for nothing. And I would say Francis is spot on about Scales. I just thought in that moment he needs to stand up a wee bit rather than he dives in and then he leans even further into the challenge, which means then for as Dessers takes that extra touch, Scales then is right out the game with that extra touch. So he's already at full stretch. There's no recovery there for him. And then obviously Sinisalo, he's out trying to narrow the angle, but Dessers just slips it by him cleverly. So that alone, mate, I think looking at that, it was probably a moment, but you would say that's a poor goal to lose in that sort of moment, right?
It just shows you, JP, if you don't take your chances, football can turn within 30 seconds. If Adidas scores that, you're probably maybe going to win the game 2 or 3.
Yeah, they don't go up the park and get that goal either. Yeah.
And then the fact that he's missed that and then they've scored, you're then chasing the game. So within a minute, you could have been 1-0 up and possibly cruising because Ibrox would have went silent. They'd have been doom and gloom. And few people have said he was unlucky. For me, it's terrible finishing. For a guy at the standard that we expect him to be, he's got to score that. I know he redeemed himself in the second half, but you've got to score their chances in the game. It's all right scoring against United and St Mirren, but they're the games you'll get judged on. They're the games you need to score in. I know he did get the second goal, but I was like you, Francis. I thought he was terrible in the first half. I was really annoyed with him. I thought his mobility was poor. Everything about his game was poor in the first half, but obviously the second half he's come out. It looked a bit sharp on the second half, but I don't know what. I'll let you in this one, Bas, because you're obviously playing the game and you'll know a bit more than us, obviously, the way the game's played. But I thought Celtic were far better in the second half when Sinisalo went direct. When he was just going for goal kicks, up to either he was either laying at half or you'll probably get 3 options. You're going to get a trouble, you're going to get a lay-off, or you'll get a Shire. You'll get something with it. And I think sometimes, for me, that's the easiest thing, Bas, just get it long, use them, because if you're playing for the back, I think we put ourselves under pressure within that sometimes, especially yesterday. I think maybe sometimes mixing up and going direct to either, or if it's Mayer or whoever it is up front, I think we get more joy out of that against them than we do playing for the back.
Baz, before you come in and Ryan's point, I've just got something to add to that quickly. So see that moment he had Ida, he goes through and Kelly pulls off that save, but Ida doesn't really connect with it that much in order to make him make a better save or whatever. It's also important to take into account that Ida shows great mentality to not let that affect him, to, as Ryan says, go into the second half and be able to redeem himself, as Ryan says, to get the actual goal that equalises the game?
No, I thought Ryan talking about going direct. I think first half when the game settled down, we beat their press so easy at times. I think they were playing a diamond and Sinisalo, they were trying to press the two centre halves.
Were you surprised at that, Baz, the diamond?
A wee bit, aye, because I think they obviously thought the diamond was going to stop our fullbacks for coming inside, i.e. Greg Taylor coming inside, and that would have meant that one of their number 8s, Raskin or Diamondi, would have took Greg Taylor. But they were so clever, Celtic, it took them probably 5 minutes to realise that they were playing a diamond, and then the fullbacks just stayed wide. And then that gave them the problem then, who was their 8s picking up, because their 8s then had to take Hatate and had to take Engels, and that left our fullbacks spare. So you could see the 8s coming in tight with their 8s with Marcour 8s, and it left the side spare because Czerny and Dessers were trying to press the two centre halves with who was it? It was on, what's his name, the Albanian fella for them.
Bajrami.
Bajrami was taking McGregor, so it left Greg Taylor and Ralston quite spare, and you could see Sinisalo picked them out a few times just with them clip balls, and that was their press beat then. So I think they changed it obviously at half time, what Ryan's saying, and they changed their press a wee bit, and that's why we did go a bit more direct. But I thought it was a great mix yesterday for playing out, and I don't think maybe our previous games where we've tried to play out constantly and caused ourselves problems. I don't think we really done that yesterday. The only time I can really remember getting caught on it was Ralston towards the end when he looked as if he was tired and he tried to turn back and get it nicked off him. I think that's the only really time that we put ourselves into any real pressure. But I think what you say is we had a mid. I thought first half, I'm the same as Ryan. I thought even the chance where I think Engels plays to Maeda in the box, a lovely pass, and Maeda sets Ida. And he kind of takes a touch, and for me there, he's shooting knowing he's going to get blocked. I think a confident striker there can probably chop or take another extra touch to create another act. I think he's shooting just for the sake of shooting, knowing it's getting blocked. I think he can do a lot better because it's a 1v1, it's a 2v2. Maeda plays a lovely set.
Yeah.
You hit it first time, or you take a few touches or beat your man and get a shot off. You try to shoot through bodies. I just think he's got to do better there for me as well. And then you can't clean through it. You've got to score. It's right before half time. You're clean through it. Suter can't really touch you, so you just know you need to get your touch right and pick a spot. And I think he tries to lift it in the end because he kind of waits too long and the goalie's at his feet. So he didn't look confident going through, to be honest. But like you said, second half, he scores. So you can't really... Well, you can, because if he takes that chance, like Ryan said, and you go 1-0 up, I think it's a completely different game. I think Celtic 1-2 or 3-0. You're then chasing the game when he scores. And to be honest, we should have went on and probably won the game with a chance at the end as well. And like Francis says, they never had anything second half. It was comfortable. But I think for the price tag that we paid for him, I'd be expecting a bit more. I know his goal return's been brilliant. But for me, I think we're a better team with Diaz and Maeda through the middle. That's my opinion. I think James Forrest was brilliant yesterday. I know Yang's just back, so maybe that's why he's not started with Maeda through the middle and Yang on one of the sides. But I think Celtic, I thought the subs were good yesterday. I thought Yang was brilliant when he came on. I think he got unlucky with the one where he plays inside and gets the return and he just it gets left behind him a wee bit. But I thought
he was 1-2 he played with Hatate, wasn't it?
I thought he showed a lot of nice touches and he was very positive. I thought Bernardo was good when he came on. I thought I was really impressed with him. He gave you... I thought Arne Engels was brilliant yesterday. I had an argument with my cousin who's a Rangers fan and he was saying Engels was poor again. I thought Arne Engels and Forrest were our two best players probably in the first half. I thought Engels was good.
I think, sorry to interrupt you, Barry, when I was watching it Sky and just before they actually voiced it, I had noticed that Engels wasn't shown of a 10-minute period. He wasn't shown for the ball, and Brendan went off his nut with him. He was shouting and bawling him, and then McGregor was shouting at him. And actually, the commentator actually came out and says, "Oh, and Brendan having a go at Arnie Engels." And I think that's where that 1-2 with Maeda came from, because I think it wakened him up a bit, and that's when he came on to a better game, and he started showing for the ball, taking it on, and laying it off and getting stuck in, because he was kind of, for me, the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I don't remember his name getting mentioned, you know. But then for the last 20 minutes of the first half, that's when he came into it, after Brendan had a right good go at him, you know. I think sometimes that boy is a wee bit, I wouldn't say he's lackadaisical, but I think he needs somebody to shout at him to say, look, you can't dawdle in games like this when you're playing for Celtic. We've got to win every game, you know. You need to keep showing, you need to keep doing what you're doing, you know what I mean, to keep the fans off your back, because you know what it's like. You make a mistake, you play a couple of round passes, and the crowd are on top of you, you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. But I felt that yesterday as well. I thought he came on to a much better game after that wee period.
Yeah, but you know what Francis mentions there about, you know, there's a period there where Francis doesn't notice Engels. I think when you go away, obviously that's his first start there as well. I know he's come on as a sub, but the first time when we played Rangers early in the season when they won, it was reported that he was unwell, which is why he was on the bench, and eventually he comes on and then gets hit with the coin, remember? But prior to that, yesterday, if you look at that game in isolation, do you think it's, again, he's a young lad, he's coming out, and essentially that's a hard place to go, isn't it, if it's your first proper game in that environment, because you've nothing else apart from the boys all telling you, like McGregor, by the way, this is what we do here, but you sort of need to be in it to experience it for yourself.
Listen, I said before the game on Friday on here that I probably wouldn't have started him, so I've always been honest with Arnie Engels. I expect a bit more, but I actually thought he played well. So I was surprised when he came off. I thought he'd done really well.
Yeah.
Not so much second half, he never got a chance. He was off after 50, 60 minutes, so he never really... I know Francis says 15 minutes or so, but it was all over the place, the game. There was no patterns of play. They had loads of set plays again. It was never really get going, but I thought 15, 20 minutes on, I thought he was involved in everything that we done well. I think the header that he wins when Raskin gets a foul, it's a fair header, leaves a bit in Raskin, I didn't mind it. And there was another few times where there's another time in the edge of the box where the ball's bouncing between him and Raskin, and he used his physical strength. I thought he was good yesterday. So I was quite happy with Arnie Engels yesterday. I thought Greg Taylor never had a great game.
No.
A few passes went astray, trying the right passes, but just never came off. I thought the left side wasn't great for us yesterday, Taylor and Maeda. But I thought, again, I've always said how much I rate him as a player. We're playing with him in that, but I thought James Forrest was brilliant yesterday. First half, carried the game to him, running him behind, taking it tight, situations that we spoke about at Ibrox, getting you up the park under that atmosphere and that. I thought he was brilliant. And I thought McGregor, Hatate, brilliant as well. So the back four, I thought they defended well, which they didn't have a great deal today. Only with the goal with Scales, you've touched on it perfectly, JP. I think he sells himself. Just stay up. Dessers, he's gone away for goal. He probably ends up coming back to his full-back and they're crossing into the box. If he just stays up and stays patient and goes with him, I think he probably panics because he probably thinks he's the wrong side of Dessers, but if he just keeps his calm and stays up there, Dessers probably shoots half him or goes and recycles the ball. I think he's panicked and went to ground too early, which then makes Dessers' mind up for him. I didn't think he had a great game yesterday, Scales, either. But few passes were slack. For the goal, got to do a lot better. But we've touched on that this season. Some of the players that probably are in and out the team for a reason.
Yeah. Ryan, obviously Baz touches on the Scales issue there. you obviously you see the goal. You know, he sets himself too quickly, in my opinion. Lets Dessers take the next touch. Then you see the real Dessers in the second half where he causes a tornado with swinging his leg. And I normally say the ball is ready to hit my motor, but Dessers his leg nearly landed on my motor with that one. I was like, one of the catch that leg, son. And when you see things like that happening and you say to yourself, that shows you the frustration in you, because you know this guy's he's no top quality. But when you're diving in and you make him look like the Brazilian Ronaldo, aye, when he's taking that extra touch and he skins you. But Baz is spot on. Another thing I picked up yesterday, Ryan, Francis, before I bring you back in as well, is for me, Scales he's a big lad. You know, he's got a big frame. Cross balls come, son, you're blocked half too easy. You need to stand your ground and be a bit more firmer. You're getting blocked half with a guy. You're 6 feet 2.
Francis in here, right? This has happened the last 2 Old Firm games. Raskin said it in his interview after the game. They've not picked up on me. I don't get how that can happen straight away. That could be 1-0 after 2 minutes and it's carnage. Look, that can't happen. You can't get balked like that. It's impossible.
It was the one for Balogun's header. See the free header that they had early in the first half? That was the first warning. Then the goal that was chopped off was the second warning for me. But for me, that's the... I mean, I've been an advocate for Liam Scales on here, as you know, Francis, Ryan, yourself, obviously. I think he's the best of the rest outside Carter Vickers. I still do to this point. However, yesterday in that game, and that's a couple of the games now, he's done the same thing, both at Ibrox, when I've seen him do it. And for me, he just needs to be a bit stronger. Because if he's a bit stronger, he's not getting pushed about. The people know are blocking him off, and he's not allowing it to happen. So therefore, he's able to get into these positions in order to. Because Francis, he's a game lad. He'll go and attack things. He'll go and put his head on things. He puts his head in when it hurts, and I've seen him get kicked in the face and the side of the head, and he is quite brave that way. Whereas you look at Trusty just lets people push him willy-nilly. That doesn't happen to Scales all the time, but it seems to be when he plays. And I don't know if that's, as Barry's saying there, Francis, that's a tactic for them. And obviously that's maybe something we need to look at as a defensive point of view.
I think it definitely is, because, I mean, it should, as Barry said, it should have been looked at for the last game, because it's happened 2 or 3 times yesterday. And for me, that's the manager's job to come out and say to him, look, you're getting caught out here with that. You take that man and you make sure you get in front of him and don't let him get a connection with the ball. I mean, that one for Balogun, there was not a soul near him. That was a complete free header. Now, if he probably wasn't dressed as Batman, he might have scored. You know what I mean? He never saw the ball because of that big daft mask he's doing.
The mask of Zorro.
Made him look a bit better, mind you. But, and then the Raskin shouldn't be beating anybody in the air in our box. Should never be getting anywhere near it. And I think that's something, and I'd imagine Brendan has picked up on it, because I know he'll probably go, well, Barry, you know better than me, but they rerun the games and go over things where you lose goals, you know, bits in the match where you think you can do better. The players will obviously look at it again, I would imagine, and say, look, you need to be better here. You know, they're seeing that coming off for them. They're going to try it again and again. If it's coming off every time, they're going to keep doing it. So you need to keep your eye on it, you know, but. Scale, that's happened to Scales a few times. Remember last season I think it was the semi-final against Aberdeen. Remember the 2 balls, the back post. It was him again. It was just nowhere to be seen, and they get 2 free headers bang into the net both times. Never learnt for the first one, never learnt for the second one, and it's happening again. That can't continue.
Right, Francis, before we move you on, mate, as we probably need to do, because we've got another couple of callers coming in. Celtic, obviously, Dyson Maeda, Coops Player of the Year, Arnie Engels gets a Young Player of the Year, and then we find out that John McGlynn has been given the PFA Managers Award of the Year. What's your thoughts on that, mate?
Shocking. Just shocking. There's no danger. I mean, Celtic are going to win a treble. Let's be honest. We're going to win a treble this year. And if a manager managing a team to a treble can't be chosen as the manager of the year, you're never going to win it.
Not only a treble, but a knockout of the Champions League as well.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's just a joke. It's that old sympathy vote, in it. You know what I mean? And he'll probably be off. McGlynn will be off with Falkirk. You know what I mean? I reckon he'll get the Hearts job.
Well, I've actually seen tonight before we come on live. It's McInnes who's the front runner for it.
Oh well, I heard today as well that McGlynn.
They only won the league in the last game of the season, didn't they?
Oh,
yeah.
I know. Ridiculous, Barry. It's a shocking decision, you know what I mean? But it doesn't surprise me. They can't give Celtic all the plaudits. You've got to take something away from us, you know what I mean? They've got to take something away because that's just the way it is up here. You know, it always will be as well, you know what I mean? But they could take that away from us, but we've took their walk-on song away from them, so.
Happy days. Francis, thank you as always, mate, for coming on and having a chat with us.
Take care, mate. See you later, mate.
Cheers.
Take
care.
Thanks, Francis, mate. See you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Hail, hail. Cheers to Francis for coming on and giving us a wee chat. Ryan, I know you've been sitting waiting patiently, mate. Your wee rosary beads, I can hear them rattling about in my ears there with my headphones on. So, just in terms of the thoughts of the lads there, mate, the last couple of points, talk about Liam Scales at set pieces, stuff like that as well. And then obviously we'll probably go on and have a wee chat about the manager of the year thing as well, because it seems to have made a bit of headline before we came live tonight. I've seen it on social media. So, what's your thoughts, mate?
That was probably the only danger yesterday, was close balls and set pieces. And me and my dad will watch the game, and even my dad's like, see if you know that's going to be a danger, don't give silly free kicks outside the box. Like, don't make silly fouls. If you've got to do a foul, do it further up the park. I don't want to be negative, JP, because we've went and got a good draw and we're doing well in the league, but Liam Scales can't be in that 11 next season, mate. It just can't happen. If we want to progress a football club, it can't happen. That's not the standard that we've got to be at. And if Trusty and the Rossi can't be better than that, then we need to go and buy somebody that's better than they three, because they three, if 3 years gone past, they three were against the Celtics team. See, like your Neils, your Strattons, even probably Rodgers when he first came in, they would get nowhere near it. And possibly Coglow shipped him out on loan right away. As soon as he came in, see you later, out the door.
He wasn't a centre half, and Ange brought him as a left back,
he still shipped him out the door right away. So for me, that's alarming right away. Don't get me wrong, look, the guy's done well to get to where he's been for me, he's a squad player. I don't see him as a Celtic 11. Maybe, like, I might be harsh on that. People got opinions, but I think if we're going to improve as a football club, I'm fine when we're on the bench and come in here and there against your St Mirrens and stuff like that, but that's the biggest game of the seasons, like he says, and every time we can copy close balls with him. The 3 incidents you mentioned there were the offside goal, the Balogun one, and the goal. Who's the player in question? That tells you exactly what's going on. And what I noticed as well, as soon as he kicked off, boom, left-hand side. That tells you everything you need to know where Celtic's weakness is the left-hand side. And it's not down to Taylor or Scales or mate, it's just that's where teams target. As soon as that was the first ball, boom, and they get a shy with it, and right away the pressure's on you. So, listen, he's done well, JP, but I think in terms of, I think the centre-back's a priority, because if Tursky's not going to come in and be better than him, Nadowski for me is probably going to go. Is he going to give Lagerbielke a second chance because he's doing well in Holland? I don't know. I can't see it because he's obviously shipped him at loan for a reason. So, but I think that's, I don't want to say it's alarming, but it probably could be, because if that's happening all the time against Rangers, and like Baz and Francis said there, but they're asking, he's about 4'5", man, and he's beating your defender 6'2". That shouldn't be happening. So, and like Baz says about getting blocked off, I don't know if you noticed it, Baz, but I don't know what Celtic do in terms of marking, right? But it looked to me yesterday that it was zonal, and they were just marking areas. They were just on a crowd and marking areas. For me, I don't like it. I don't know what you do at Sheffield Wednesday, mate, or what you prefer, but I just like old school, man to man. If you lose your man, it's your fault and you deal with it. But I'm more a fan of this zonal area marking stuff, mate.
I think the zonals, because every team now to get basically every team now attacking set pieces get blockers.
Right.
To try and get free headers, which they done yesterday. Because for Balogun's, it's actually Raskin that runs in and blocks Scales. So that's how other teams defending now, they half zonal and half mark, because if you do get blocked, you've got people in zonal areas to go and edit. But even the wide free kicks yesterday, I was watching, because I always watch Celtic corners, because I've said it for ages now that cross balls into our box we struggle. So the wide free kick where Raskin scores for, they've got players starting offside. That tells you straight away they're blockers. They're going to block. They're not interested in wanting the header. They're going to come out and block the Celtic defenders that are trying to then drop on the run up to the corner coming in, the free kick coming in. So if I'm a defender there, I'm watching who's in the line of my path, and I'm getting out of the way of him. But it's so naive. It's no, like JP said, he's brave as anything. He's probably one of the bravest in the team. He'll go and head anything. Not today with willing to header the ball or being good in there. He needs to be more aware of what's happening around him, because you can't get bought. Because if you're one of the best headers of the ball for our team, so we need you free to go and attack the ball. And I was watching yesterday when they had free kicks and that, Rangers had about 3-4 blockers in a line just waiting for our defenders to drop in, and then that's how you get people like Raskin winning headers, because they've got a free run because their big players are blocking our big players, and it doesn't matter what size you are. If you get a free run in the box and you're good with your head, you're going to get a free header. So I was just disappointed at how naive we were at set plays yesterday, because they got free a few times through blocks and we never seemed to learn from it.
Yeah. Here's the thoughts now of our second caller. It is John M, folks. Here he is. Good evening. How are you?
Evening, lads. How are we?
How are you, John? You all right?
Not bad, Baz. Yourself, son?
Aye, no bad.
Good.
I thought Ryan was at Ibrox there. He suddenly turned into a chair.
Aye.
Getting the
Or
light.
turned into seats.
As long as that wasn't a blue chair, Ryan, you're all right, mate.
No, I got my balls from Wembley, mate.
How are you? How was your weekend?
Aye, all right. Aye. Well, chilled out. No work, so start back tomorrow. So, aye, had a chilled out weekend. Just watch some football on the telly.
What was your take on the game yesterday?
It was, to be honest, I mean, it's nothing to play for. I mean, I know it's a big derby game, as everybody thinks, and we're playing that shower. But for me, I think a lot of the players sort of, you know what I mean, had to, you know, I didn't think we were ever going to lose the game. The first off, I thought they were in first gear, Celtic. You know what I mean? And the second half, they just upped it up a few gears and took charge. To be honest, because I don't think that mob had a shot on goal in the second half. But
I think they had a half chance, didn't he? Sinisalo saves it. Is it Raskin again in the box?
Aye.
I think so. Aye.
Actually, if you look at it, can you count that, Baz, as going goalwards because it's outside the kind of 6-yard area?
I don't know. It's hard. Was it going in goal? Was it going wide? Who knows? He slipped, didn't he? Controlled it and slipped. And
He came out big anyway. He reminded me like the holy goalie when he done it. He just came out like a madman and just spread himself. I was like, that's the thing about Sinisalo, John. For me, he just looks brave.
Aye, he's a good big goalkeeper. Still a young boy. He's still learning. You know what I mean? But he is brave. And for me, he does a lot of talking. You know what I mean? Screaming at his defenders and stuff. I think he's one for the future, that boy, to be honest. But the best thing for me in that game was we stole their national anthem, and I just loved that. You know what I mean? I thought that was excellent. When it seems to be
a big talking point today, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, it's always been like say their song sort of thing, and I think the Celtic fans just took over and started to sing it. You know what I mean? So, aye, I was kind of pushing myself laughing at that one. But excellent. But I didn't think we were ever in any trouble. I thought Big Ida scores. He's through on goal before they score. We take a short corner, bingo, right up the park. Big Scales gets caught on the crossfire, and then silly goal to lose, but we lost it. And but I think he just should have scored. He should have scored before that, and then their goal doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? And overall, I think we should have won the game. I'm being honest with. I thought Celtic should have won the game.
Yeah, I think Ryan, Cal McGregor talks after the game, and Cal McGregor talks after the game, Ryan, doesn't he? And that's one of the biggest ups I think of the game yesterday. He's even said himself, no, there was good moments there for us, and we just, as Brendan says again, mate, that we just start as Baz says at the beginning of the show, you've no Jota, you've no Kuhn. These guys are, they've got that killer edge that they can bring to the game, Ryan, that gives you that final third quality that maybe just wasn't there yesterday. I know Baz is saying about Yang, he came on, he was really bright, but he wasn't on long enough to really have that sort of impact to play. He was unlucky because, as Baz says earlier, Ryan, we're at 1-2 with Atati. I think I spoke to you about it today. He actually nutmegs Jeffy, and they end up with a return pass for Atati, and it just gets caught. Rather than if that comes on, then Yang cleared a gap in the 18-yard box for us. Either he's going to square it or he's going to shoot. And who knows, he could go near post, and we've seen Liam Kelly be beat there many a time. So why not again yesterday? But as John says there, he does chance in the first half. Are you the same? Are you like Callum? Are you think there's moments there for us to have walked away victorious yesterday?
Especially the second half, I thought it was really all us. Once we get the goal, the momentum was with us, and I don't know if they were. Again, I'm in the dressing room and I'm on that team, so I don't know. I'm just going by what I was watching, and they weren't going for a juggler. See, normally when you get a goal, the momentum's normally right. Get the ball. It wasn't. It changed a wee bit, but it wasn't like they were going for a juggler. I don't know if it was a bit of caution. I don't know, but guys in my head, if he squares that, man, that's made Johnny Kenny's life, man. He's never going to buy a pint in his life in Glasgow, man. Honestly, if he scores that, and it's made his career. And who knows, by a goal like that could spur Johnny Kenny on, or even if he plays that close to Yang. But I don't want to criticise Meyer too much because he's been amazing for us, and he done well even get to that stage of where he got to. But it's moments like that could have won you the game. And I do agree with Baz as well, what Baz said about James Forrest. I thought Forrest was brilliant. I thought he was direct and he was always cutting inside. And I agree with Baz as well about Arne Engels. See the slander that boy's been getting I've seen the last 24 hours. I really don't. I know, listen, we all see football different, right? And we've all got opinions and what we expect for a 10 million or 2 million or whatever, right? Same we do, it's not your fault that we paid the price, but we can only go on the price and everything else, right? Engels has never been this guy that's going to score 20 goals a season, 50 assists. That's not what he done in that. Like Baz says, the last half hour, the first half an hour, he was involved in the play. He was spraying passes about. See the big diagonal he put out Maeda.
Maeda, great ball. By the way, Ryan, he does that once a game, maybe twice a game.
He does it every game. Yeah, every game. But it's small things like that people don't notice, but they notice him making a bad pass. Well, wait a minute, he's just pinged a 40-yard pass there, and we've scored for it. Like the man at Tannadice, right? I didn't notice it during 90 minutes of the game, but CF, right? Yeah. That swivel that he done, right? People think that's simple and it's just a swivel. He's changed for us to going out wide. He swiveled and put an attack on him. We've scored for it. He's changed the direction of play within 10 seconds. We've scored. It's small things like that people don't notice, but what they notice is, he lost that body, he's passing out the park. But they've no noticed that he's just done that. And I'm agreeing with Baz. I thought he was really good. Second half, I can get he was doing a wee bit, but some of the slander he's getting, he's shy. Come on, man. He's playing consistently every game. A manager like Brendan's not going to be playing him every game if he thinks he's not good enough. And he's now got young player of the year as well on the team. Well on the standard of the category he's in, might not be up to the best. Who cares? He's came to a new country. I think he's got 10 goals, 12 assists, 8 man of matches. He's done well in Europe. He might not be Arne Engels. He's 21-year-old. He came to a foreign country. What do you expect him to do?
What was it Brendan called it, right? Holiday football?
He's been told,
game a week.
Listen, you're going to be playing 2-3 times a week here. There's no one game a week in Germany where you can relax for 3 days. Next year, he'll be a better player. I still stand by. He'll sell. he'll sell for a lot more money than we're voting for. It might not be next year, but I genuinely believe he will. He's got the basics of a very, very good player. He might not be this physical player. That just might not be his game. But see, like Baz said with the fibble, how he's gave that as a fibbles? Just stop football on the roof, that's a fibble. He's heated the ball and he's put the Arsenal on his arse. He's give a fibble. But I don't know. But the slander Arnie Engels is getting is... Listen, I know people might say the same about Ida, right? I know Ida's numbers are good, but Ida's overall general play, just in my opinion, is not up to scratch to be a number 9 at Celtic, right? But his goals show that he might be. So it depends what angle you want as a striker, right? For me, ideally, for the price you pay, as Baz says, it's not his fault either, but you want the full package. If we get the full package, probably no. Another pre-season, see how it goes next year, but fans are expecting Engels to be zinging and doing this and doing that. He's came from a foreign country, big price tag on his back, a lot of pressure. Difference is, Ida's been here. He's just went to fine line right away, starting, boom. So I think just on Engels, give the boy a break. I know people might say the same about Ida, which is fine, but give the boy a break, man. He's a young boy. Let's see how it goes in pre-season next season. But I think he's been fine. I think he's been missing the odd game here and there, but I thought yesterday he was good, but mate, some of the slander I've seen about him has been, I think it's pretty poor, man. Support the boy.
I know.
Exactly.
John, what's your take on Engels? How have you seen this season for him?
It's been in and out, really. And I'm not saying he's had a couple of bad games, but there's been a couple of games where he's not been in a game, basically. You know what I mean? He's not been able to get into the game. Maybe it's just the way he plays. I don't know. But for me, I think he's like a Callum McGregor type player. He's got to play through the middle. When you play him out wide or play him left or right or whatever, he kind of gets a bit lost sometimes. You know what I mean? I don't know if that sounds stupid, but that's just the way I see it. And I think if you play him through the middle, he comes right onto your game. Do you know what I mean? But
lads,
yeah,
he's a good player. There's a player in there.
Do you know think he was shot number 10 though, Engels?
I
Just
think
sitting
so.
Spain parties about and just doing the simple things.
Maybe playing with.
Well, let's ask a guy that shares the same department as him on the field. Baz, what do you think about Engels playing a number 10 role, mate?
I think he's, like I touched on, I went and watched him close up at Villa Park and I thought his physicality was brilliant. He could match a lot of them that night.
You were actually surprised that night. I remember you saying that to me, Baz.
I was, because I expect him to be that fast and strong and that powerful in his running. So I think he's an 8. He probably is an 8. We don't play with ends, do we? Because we get always a Datati and a Riley or a Hatati and Aaron Moyne, people like that. So I think he's fine where he is. Listen, the boy, he's 21. That's the big difference for him and Adam Ida. He's still a young boy. He's coming into a different country. His goal output, I know a lot of penalties and things like that, and assists or corners, some of them, but he's going to be. He'll be like Ryan said. He'll make us money. He's been good in the Champions League in games as well, and that's where you get noticed. His age will go massive for him. I was looking the other day because I was arguing with my cousin yesterday. He was saying Raskin's better than him. And I went and looked at Raskin's stats. I think he's got 3 goals in 3 years and 9 assists in 3 years. 7 of them are this season. Arnie Engels, he's got 9 goals and 7 assists maybe. So he's beat that this year and he's 3 years younger than him. And them across there are making Raskin out to be this unbelievable player. We've got a guy that's 3 years younger and done more in a year than he is in 3 years. So I think Arnie Engels will be a big player for Celtic next year. I think you'll see double goals and double assists no matter who they bring in, because he's not going to be a player next year that you won't see, and he'll be a starter again no matter what happens in the summer. He'll go from strength to strength, and like you said last night, I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes this season with a few more goals and assists, because getting that Player of the Year, that Young Player of the Year award last night, that'll kick him on. That his confidence will be be going through the roof, sky high.
Yeah.
So hopefully he plays in the run up to the cup final, because I think you'll see a different Arnie Engels. I think you'll see a really, really confident Arnie Engels for the rest of the season, because wee things like that, even if it's player of the month or you get your club's player of the month, it gives you a confidence boost. I've had it at Wednesday where you get a fans giving you player of the month and your confidence is sky high. You could have been terrible, but that just in your head, you think, oh, brilliant, they must think I'm doing well. So I think you'll see a different Arnie Engels that finishes the season. I think you'll see a few more goals, a few more assists, but I think as an 8 he's fine, and I think he'll go from strength to strength. This has been a learning season, and to be fair, 9 goals and 7 assists or whatever it is, it's no bad for a first season for me for a number 8.
He's got an extremely good sensei sitting beside him in Callum McGregor that can nourish him and help him through as well, with all the experience that Callum brings to that team as well. John, obviously, just before we move you on, as we do have another caller coming on, what's your thoughts on the Manager of the Year award? Because we've been told now it's, as obviously it was announced, it's John McGlynn.
John McGlynn.
Yep. So the 4 that were up for it. No, sorry. The main 3 that were up for it was Brendan, obviously, David Gray, and John McGlynn, and it was given to John McGlynn.
And he even beat David Gray to it as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Nah, no comment on that one, by the way. That's just strange. That's just weird. I don't get that one at all. Don't get me wrong, I've nothing against John McGlynn. He's probably done well with Falkirk this season, and you know, maybe deserves a reward. But no Manager of the Year, no for me. I mean, Brendan's just ready to do another treble, obviously. Well, hopefully he gets that done and dusted. We've got 2 in the bag, so hopefully he gets the cup final done and dusted and another treble.
And a knockout of the Champions League.
Aye, definitely. We throw that in as well. But I mean, even David Gray at Hibs, I mean, he's done a fantastic job as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to bring them free. I mean, they were relishing away down the bottom of the league
They were the bottom of the league.
Well, they were bottom of the league for quite some time, and obviously they even looks know that they'll probably finish 3rd now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a few points now between them and Aberdeen.
Well, maybe that run just came a bit too late for them, or they could have been challenging maybe Rangers for 2nd. Do you know what I mean? He's done an exceptional job, and I think he deserves some sort of reward. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I think for me personally, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Celtic fan, I think Brendan should have won that. Definitely.
Well, thank you very much for your input tonight, John. It's good to get you on again for a chat.
Good talking to you, lads.
Cheers, John. Take care.
Take care. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
We'll see you again before the end of the season, no doubt.
Yes, hopefully.
Take care.
You too.
Have a good night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See, on that, JP, I don't know why, I don't know if it's a time frame or what the reason is. Why did they do the awards before the season's finished? Because they're getting, just say they gave somebody who's in 25 goals and there's maybe somebody with 20 goals, the top goal scorer. What happens if he gets like 3 hat-tricks in 3 games? And then it's mental. It's the same as top 6. I'm sure I seen the other day that St Mirren or Motherwell could actually take care of St Mirren to win all their games. But yet
I think it's because it's by a certain point, isn't it?
It's mental, but how you can have more points in that team, but yet you're not in the top 6. And then it doesn't matter what level of football you're at or what finances you've got. If we win the treble and you don't get Manager of the Year, that's no wonder we get slaughtered, by the way. Honestly, the manager, I think he's only won it once, by the way, when he's been here, Brendan. I think he's only won it once or twice.
And by the way, I'm talking about his 2 spells as well. I think you make the right one.
And bear in mind, he won a treble, an invincible treble as well at that.
Then he backed up with a double treble. And then he set us up to win a treble. That Lennon came in and completed.
I agree with your dad, by the way. Like John McGlynn, what he's done for Falkirk, back-to-back promotions.
Amazing.
Is brilliant. David Gray, fair play to Hibs for, by the way, backing him and saying, no, we're keeping the man. we trust him, we rely on him, and he's took them up to basically third, and I think it was like 17 or 18 game unbeaten run. Phenomenal. But if Celtic win 3 trebles, bear in mind, apparently when we win trebles, they're not in the league and we've not got a challenge. The last 2 years, we've had a challenge apparently. You then win a double in a treble. How can you not get the best manager of Scotland? I don't understand it. You've won the 3 biggest trophies, the 3 hardest trophies in your country's league competition, but yet you don't win manager of the year.
We comment for Ange M there. Ange says McGlynn got it for leading Falkirk to the Scottish Championship title, but that title trophy should be kept until the end of the season.
It should be.
Did you see him the other night when they won it, by the way? He took it up to the gantry room and never let the players run away with it. Never seen that before, either. I've never seen a manager do that. Stop hogging the title.
Maybe it's just me, but I think that stuff should be done when the leagues are finished. I don't know if it's a time frame or whatever the reasons is it for people's holidays or pre-season. I don't know what the reason behind it. Baz, you might know, me, obviously been a few players awards yourself and stuff, how it goes down south as well, but I don't understand it, mate, why it's done before the end of the season.
I think, like you touched on there, players are straight off on holiday as soon as that last game of the season's done. So you wouldn't get a turnout at the awards, I don't think, for it, with the players or the managers or whatever. So, but I totally agree with you. I think it's crazy because I remember a couple of seasons ago in League One when I got goal of the season, but I got it like there was still another 5-6 games to go that season.
Yeah.
And it's the whole league, obviously, all the leagues. So it's a million games to be played, really, which is crazy, to be honest. And like you said, if Brendan goes and wins the treble, then it's mental that he's no getting it. But to be honest, does it matter to him? Probably no.
Probably no.
Well, Baz, you talk about turnouts, mate. Here's the next caller that's coming in, would get a massive turnout to the opening of an envelope. I'm telling you, that's just the way this guy rolls. That is indeed the sponsor of the podcast, Mr. Alex Beveridge. Good evening, big man. How you doing?
I'm good, lads. How are you all right?
All right, man.
Yeah, I'm fine, aye. All right.
Have a good weekend.
Yep.
All good.
How about yourself?
Yeah, a busy one, mate. As you know, it was my daughter's 18th on Saturday night, so we had a big family party for that, and then out to watch the football yesterday, and then a lot of run about today. So not that long in, as I said when I phoned you, I'll be back in time. So after this, I'm going right to my bed. I'm absolutely knackered.
I do apologise for having you on a bit later. We didn't start bang on my time.
Oh, it's not a problem.
So, in terms of the game yesterday, big man, what did you think?
I think it was just he's both touched on points, but me, I just thought it was a game of two halves. I thought we were really poor in the first half, and then we stepped it up in the second half. They could have won it, we could have won it. I think it was just one of the games that the longer it was going on, I think a draw was a fair result, to be fair. You had the one with my head at the end, maybe could have nicked it, but as I said, obviously it's a meaningless game, but you never get a meaningless game with a Celtic Rangers game. But yeah, just good that we didn't get beat. That was the main thing. Didn't want to go over there and get 3 defeats on a row with them, so I'm happy with the point.
Yeah, I think that's, as Ryan touches on, Baz, I think the overall, when you go, especially when you go there, and you're not at home, so at home you're trying to win your home games. When you're away from home, you accept anything on the road, and as Ryan and as Bev says, you're happy not to lose a game, no matter what then the outcome is. You're happy to walk away unscathed either way.
Listen, when you're playing these derby games, it doesn't matter how far ahead of them you are, or these games are completely different games because there's loads more involved in it. So it's not a case of we're 17 points ahead, you can go there and just steamroll them. It doesn't work out like that in these games. There's more to it. The occasion itself is really hard to go and play in, but it's good at the same time. And if you can control that, it is brilliant. But like I said, there's more to these games than, oh, we're better than them, so we should go and beat them. It doesn't work out like that. So, like I touched on right at the start, if you can't win these games, it's really, really important that you don't lose them. I felt, I think, like Francis said, we probably had a few more gears to go up. I don't think we really went for the throttle yesterday. I think it was, we were more interested in keeping the ball than actually scoring a goal, which could be personnel. Like I said, it could be the fact that you've not got your Jotas and your Coons who are more direct on your wings. Alistair Johnson plays a big part. I know he's got loads of assists this season with overlaps and stuff like that. He's go point of the attack as well, and I think we missed that yesterday. And with wee Jamesy coming inside, probably looking for somebody to go around the outside of him to sustain the attack and probably advance it. It never really happened yesterday, and that's why we kept coming back and having to keep the ball again. So, no, I think Bev's spot on. Like it wasn't really like we deserved to win it. It was probably, we could have won it if we upped the ante a wee bit, but we never. The league's won, and said it's nobody's got the bragging rights. Well, we leave there with the bragging rights because we won the league. So, all in all, I was happy with how yesterday went.
Bev, what's your take on the fact that we've now stole the walk-on anthem?
It's not. I don't know what to do now when people, because I don't play football tunes or anything like that. But
yeah, mate, I know.
I don't think you'll get many new coming up and asking for Simply the Best anymore because it's back on as a Celtic tune now. It's
There's actual Celtic fans asked the Green Brigade to put a petition round to get it played at Celtic Park now.
It's nuts. It's nuts. But yeah, today that's just a bit of tongue in cheek, and I think it wound them up to a point where it got nasty. Do you know the way they were the Celtic, because they get into it. It wasn't as if they just sat and said. I mean, they get into the song, so
you couldn't hear their fans for our fans singing
exactly. It was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant. Great bit of tongue in cheek.
Obviously, there's a couple of things we've not mentioned tonight. Obviously, I was waiting to yourself because it's different to have different points with each caller that comes in. Obviously, there was a couple of unsavoury moments yesterday. We did see that obviously there was a tifo put up before the game, and the wording of it, and it reads to take aim at rebel scum, is what it said. And then obviously during the game, we see incidents again with vapes and a glass bucky, half bottle of Buckfast being launched in the direction of the Celtic goalkeeper. Again, Ryan talks highly about this. That's your biggest selling point in this country's football, is basically that derby, because the rest of Scottish football, especially from, as Basil probably vouched for, down south, isn't looked upon as a great spectacle at the best of times. But I mean, you start seeing things like that happening on TV, big man. Obviously, what's your take on that?
Firstly, I was surprised that they afforded a half bottle. It was really a thing to see that on. But in all seriousness, there's just no place in it for it. I know the Green Brigade do stuff as well, and I don't agree with their stuff most of the time, but when you put stuff like that up, it's just inciting hatred. That's just what it is. And as you say, the Rangers Celtic games are worldwide. It's our biggest game to showcase like our league, and you get all that stuff. And then again, I mean, you look at the incident the last time with Joe Hart, it was actually a broken bottle that they threw on at him. You know what I mean? I know throwing the half bottle and the vapes and all that, it'll do a bit of damage, but to throw a broken bottle on to try and hit somebody, it's no for me.
You also see the last one as well. Ibrox, Bev, Engels gets hit in the head with a coin.
Yeah, with the coin, yeah. I think he'd just come on. I don't think he was even on that long, and he literally gets hit with the coin, but it's going to get to a point where you'll see cage mesh up behind the goals or whatever to try and do some sort of protection for the goalkeepers and the players and all, not just the goalkeepers. But it's horrible that you think that it's grown men. I know you've got a young element, a youth element that do stuff as well, but you've got grown men. The way, I don't know if you've seen when Celtic arrived at Ibrox yesterday, getting off the bus. Did you hear some of the stuff that people were saying? That they were right next to the camera, and some of this stuff was awful. I mean, I don't condone it for anybody, but some of that stuff that they were saying was awful. Talking about people's race and their religion, and it was just it was uncalled for, and it's horrible. And as again, that's getting shown live all over the world when you're walking after that, and then when you see that in the game. But it's just ridiculous, totally uncalled for.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously, Ryan, during the game, obviously, Ned Lasso gets booked, and he beats that record of all time. So he's actually had more bookings at Ibrox than he has had wins.
Aye. If I'm being honest, JP, as a player, I thought he was brilliant. I thought, I don't want to say he was world class, but Barry Ferguson was a good player. I think people need to realise he was a proper player. He was unlucky, mate. He went to Blackburn, was unlucky injury because he was doing well down there and he might have got a bigger move. But see the way he acts, the touchline, and apparently, according to Derek Ferguson, that he's basically lost the plot him already. He's already saying, what's the point? We don't know what he's want. All this, and I'm not saying he's no clueless, right? They're no clueless. They've been involved in football. They obviously have got some sort of knowledge of coaching and whatever else. But if that's the way your manager's acting inside of the park, that's no good. See all this moaning every 2 minutes at referees and getting booked. That's no good for players. How you're meant to set an example on the side of the park. Now, if you're shouting ball and getting booked, and then that's going to feed on your players. That will feed around the stadium, and so certain bits and like that, he's got to. For me, he's got to learn if he's going to get a job like that type of. He's got to learn that you've got to calm down a wee bit and do your talking in the dressing room or do certain ways of what you're doing. But in terms of all that stuff, I don't like it, JP. It's rivalry, so certain things you'll accept wee silly tifos and wee silly bits of banter, and don't get offended with too much. But when certain things get done, it's a bit like, come on, like Bev said as well, it's on national telly. It's not really looking good for the Scottish game. We all know about this hatred here on the religion side and everything that comes with it, but you're just people do say you go, what Nicky, is that what they're all about? Is it about the football? What is that about? And the thing about the phone stuff in the park, I've never went to a game and thought, you know what, I'm going to buy a pie or I'm going to buy a coat in front of the park. I genuinely don't understand why people do it. And guys like Baz who are playing football,
especially the price you pay for things, man.
Aye, the guys like Baz who are playing the new, and that's meant to be your safe spot. That's meant to be where you're free to do what you want. You can play football with freedom, and you're not meant to go to a park thinking, am I going to get hit with a pie or a bovril or a buck? That's crazy. It's happened a few things at Ibrox. Listen, it's happened at Celtic Park once or twice as well. So Celtic fans on the Angels, but it's got to be cranked out. I don't understand why you walk into a football ground. You know what? I'm going to bring a buckfast boat and throw it in the park. But no matter how drunk you are or sober or whatever you've took before the game, whatever you want to do yourself.
As Bev says, he must have saved up for a wee while to get
that. I just don't get it, mate. I know, listen, your emotions can get sometimes, like you might shout abuse or whatever, right? But think to yourself, you know what, I'm going to throw that one in a park. I don't get it. And like you say, Bev, there might be a mess up, but it just shows you that the stewards are not doing their job right either, because there's obviously no checking people how they're getting in glass bottles, and I don't know how you can get it in their jacket, but they're obviously doing it very well. But listen, I'm not going to nitpick too much on certain things because it is a rivalry and things will happen, but things like that, I think that's meant to be a players and a management safety area. That's them doing their job. It's like one of us on their job getting hit with a bucky ball. Would that be condoned? No. So why is it condoned? Because of football players?
Yeah, Baz, obviously this game is the derby. It's hyped up here and it's the biggest derby in the world and all the rest of it. But as the lads are touching on, in terms of things like that and the unsavoury parts of that day, in a way to stop this, do you think there needs to be more done in terms of security before they even enter the stadium now? I mean, how do you try and eradicate as much of that as you can? Like Bev's mentioned about meshing up, you see that happening abroad. There's cages up. There's things there protecting the players. So do you think we could be heading in that direction if this doesn't stop?
Definitely. I think you talk about security. I think security probably outside the stadium needs to be ramped up a bit better, because they're obviously getting in with these things, and you've seen it before. Like, I watched Birmingham City fan running on and attacking Jack Grealish a few years ago now. They could have anything in their hand at that time. It's too late. And these people are actually mad enough to run on the park. So they're not just running on to do it, they're running on with intention. So by that time, it's too late. So it's crazy because it's society. Like Ryan said, he's never ever thought of throwing it's the way he's been brought up, probably, because he knows it's wrong and his mum and dad would probably go through him. Do you know what I mean? But these people that are doing this are obviously not getting brought up the right way, and it's society nowadays. It's a shame to say, but you see, like, when you go on buses or trains, and I see young ones, I've always brought up to get up off my seat and let an old person sit down. That doesn't happen anymore. You go to a dog walk, you always say hello to people. You don't get it for young people, and even people coming through the academies and stuff now. It's completely different from when I was growing up. I used to love seeing first team players and saying good morning to them. Some of the young boys at our place will walk past like the first team players, and that's the way the world's gone. There's no fear. There's no fear at schools. People aren't scared of their school teachers anymore. Police officers, you see, I'm still scared now when a motor pulls up behind me and I've done nothing wrong. Do you know what I mean? But you see these young boys, they'll race past police motors and that, just fearless. So I think it's society, and I think with the hatred in that game, I think it's only going to go one way, and I think you're going to have to end up putting up these fences that you see it in the German leagues and the Italian leagues, because it's only going to get worse, and it's going to end up being too late, and before we do something about it and stop it.
Yeah, 100%. I do agree. Something needs to be done drastically in terms of before they even enter the stadium. Otherwise, is it going to end up a fatal incident happens, or something really, really damaging happens inside the stadium to an individual? Bev, obviously, I know you've touched on that you're knackered, big man. So we're not going to keep you too long. Obviously, just to get your thoughts finally on the Manager of the Year award that was dished out yesterday, I think it was, and it's been given to John McGlynn.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, they only won the league Friday night, wasn't it? And if they get beat or something, was it Livingston that won it, or if something happened? Yeah. So yeah, it's not as if John McGlynn's done a pull at a worldie and thing with Falkirk with a big point gap or anything like that. I mean, they won the league on Friday, and it's a weird one. Like your dad says, it is weird that. I think recognition should go to the better players, better managers. They deserve it. You can't just give trophies out to other people just because you say, oh, Celtic's going to win the Player of the Year, the Young Player of the Year, the Goal of the Season, the Save of the Season, you know what I mean, the best pie. If Celtic's getting all that, if they've got the best for that, then you give them it. They're due it. You can't just give somebody an award just because you don't want to give it to Celtic. Because that's what I feel it's done. Because if anything, I thought maybe David Gray would have. I think he deserved it more than McGlynn, to be fair. So yeah, it's a weird one, but recognition.
Another one as well, Bev. I know he's no. He suddenly came up last year. What about Jim Goodwin? He's done well, I know, but done as well. He keep on it, I know.
If you're going down that route, you could go through probably every manager. And go, have they had a good season? You could go through the leagues and see what they've done. But if you're at the top table and you're winning all the top awards and you're winning all the prizes, you're winning hopefully another treble, what more do you get? And then, as JP says, you've got into the knockout stages for the Champions League. You're progressing year in year. What more do you need to do to win an award like that? It's mental, absolutely mental.
Yes, it is indeed. Well, big man, thanks very much for taking the time to come on and have a wee chat with us, mate. We will let you go and get to your bed. As you said, you've had a busy weekend and you deserve a rest now, big fella.
Thanks a lot, boys. It was good chatting to you. See you all
Cheers,
again
Bev.
soon. All
Take
right.
care, big man. Speak to you soon.
All the
Cheers,
best.
lads.
See you later,
Thank
mate.
you.
Hail, hail, mate. Bye-bye. Thank you to Big Bev and our final caller of the dial-in for this Monday. Lads, obviously I've no touched individually with yous. I mean, Jimmy Tiernan, he's probably had not a bad season with Aberdeen as well. You look at, they've got to a Scottish Cup final in comparison to where Aberdeen finished last season in the league in terms of the full rebuild of that squad they've had to do. Look at the start they had this season as well. Now, they were looking as if they were going to separate the two Glasgow sides at the beginning. You know, the way they were flying. So as Bev says, you could really go through the managers. But Baz, obviously getting your feelings on the actual manager of the year award. A comment did come in there saying that Brendan had won the league before Falkirk had as well with Celtic. So obviously that was clinched before then. But it's bizarre, isn't it? The way, obviously, the format. And Brendan has went vocal and says he did vote himself for John McGlynn. I think Davy Martindale says he voted for Brendan. I've seen that. So it just goes to show, obviously, people recognise different things. But yeah, it seems a bit of a strange one, matey.
Definitely. I think, like Bev touched on there, if you're the best at what you do, then you should get it. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't be a case of he's got player of the year. He's got young player of the year, they're both for that team or what. If your manager's the best in Scotland, then you should be getting rewarded. I just find it crazy that you can get to a championship manager than an SPL manager for a start, because the most competitive league's the SPL and not the championship. So surely the best managers in that league. I know you can look at it and say they've back-to-backs and cases like that. So if that was the case down here in England, Phil Parkinson should probably win the one down here, but he won't. Arne Slot will win it because he's won the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't get it. Obviously, listen, John McGinn's done an unbelievable job. I've seen Falkirk play. They play the right way, brilliant football. He looks a really good manager to play for, attractive football. And it's an unbelievable achievement. But we touched on, Brendan's won all the trophies that he can possibly win this season. No yet, but he is going to do it. And not to be recognised and not to win the best manager in Scotland's crazy. He's voted John McGlynn because obviously can't vote himself, but deep down inside he'll know anyway. So like I said, we're all here talking about it. It won't affect Brendan. It won't matter a jot to him. He's more worried about what the team's winning, and hopefully we're going to win everything. That side of it, so it won't bother him a jot.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part there, Ryan, as Baz says, it's about bothering Brendan. I think there's a clip, obviously when we come off, lads, I will send you the clip if you have not already seen it. Brendan's doing an interview yesterday for the BBC, and the fella that's interviewing him actually, without saying to him, well done in your draw away from home today, you've kept the league at 17 points ahead, blah, blah, blah. His line of questioning was more rather than, what do you think about Rangers next season, Brendan? Do you think Rangers will be much stronger? And Brendan just shut him down straight away and says, I couldn't care less about Rangers. He said, my thoughts are with Celtic. I'm not here to tell you my thoughts about Rangers. Rangers will do what they're going to do. Obviously, he says, my narrative would be on Celtic having a great season. We've got a chance to win a treble. We've got to the knockout phase of the Champions League for the first time in a long time. But your line of questioning to me is, do I think Rangers are going to be stronger? Why not talk about what Celtic have achieved? You know? It's just, Ryan, how many times have we spoke about it, mate, even off of this? Like, it's just bizarre. The line of questions that get put into these guys is just unbelievable. And it just seems to be directed, and, you know, they're more looking at Rangers not being good enough than Celtic actually just going out and doing their job.
It must be hard, mate, for managers and players, especially after the games, to know say things that they want to say. Obviously, Baz interviews yourself, he'll probably feel the same, that you've got to be professional and you can't swear, and you've got to be really no nice to them, but you need to answer questions. And obviously some players now might get media trained. I know years ago they might have known, but now they might be told academies and pro youth setups. a wee bit of training to help you, because I think maybe some young players can get questions like that and, oh, what do I say? So the media up here are bonkers, mate. The line of question they ask managers and players, and the headlines they put up about things, it's all clickbait, and they're wanting a reaction now, Brendan. They're wanting Brendan to say something about the takeover or next year or this and that, and then it will be a headline, or Brendan says this Celtic board now need to act, and listen, he's not a stupid guy, he's very intelligent, and they're obviously trying to get a reaction after him, mate. The media up here, I'll always keep saying it, mate, I could say certain words about them, but they're pretty bad in terms of trying to put people in the boot in them and stuff. But you need to be professional. You need to just answer the question as best you can, and I think Ben done that. And obviously, John McGlynn, like Baz says, Falkirk play football the right way. They've got a good team there. They've got some good players in there. Boy, Calvin Miller, he's had a fantastic season for them. I'm surprised.
The boy Ethan Ross scored the 2 goals for them as well. He's done quite well.
I think if Falkirk didn't go up, he might have got a move to maybe St Mirren or something. He's had a good season. Calvin Miller, he was actually really good at Celtic when he was young, but Brendan obviously thought he was a wing back in the business. He was a forward thinking player, and don't know if that affected the boys' career with Celtic. I don't know. He'll be the one to tell you that. But I'm like Baz. It's if you're the best at your craft and you win the major things at the top level, you should be getting it. Because it's not like Falkirk have not got a budget. They've spent a wee tiny bit of money. That's not like Falkirk are absolute skint. It's not like like a Bolton division team, like Raith Rovers. Even Raith Rovers don't spend a lot of money. So like they brought in Scott Arfield. Scott Arfield's not going to be on pennies. He'll not be on £10 a week. Do you know what I mean? He'll be on good money at Falkirk, because he was signed to try and help them, which he's done. And I actually thought as soon as he signed him, that was the league finish, because for that level, a player still playing. I know with Bolton, they might have not played a lot of games, but Bolton to championships, it's still a better level.
Yeah.
So I think we can all agree that Brendan, mate, should be getting it. Well, I did say on Friday that the only reason I think he would get it is if he won the treble. If he wins the treble, then it's a shoe
Well,
in.
it's too late because it's been done before.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm
happening.
saying. And you can't say, but if he won this and won that, because it's been done. So even, by the way, even Aberdeen could go win the Scottish Cup, right? Which I don't think they're already. You've got to talk, obviously.
No, they're in the final.
Future. Right, that's what I'm saying, right? He could still finish third, right? He might know, right? But even fourth and win the Scottish Cup.
He's got a wee bit of work to do now because they're 3 points behind Tibbs now.
Just say he finishes fourth, he's had him very well last year, wins the Scottish Cup and doesn't get any.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So the thought.
By the way, he's rebuilt Aberdeen. He said to get rid of quite a lot of the squad, and he's brought in a lot of new players as well.
All in, mate. I'm same as Baz and Bev and yourself. That's a bit crazy, but what can we do, mate? We're no in that field to change anything. So, but I think if Brendan wins the treble, which I think we will he matter a job, like Baz says? Probably no. He'll just be away up to his house in Mallorca and celebrate. He's not going to really care, is he? So, but obviously deep down, there'll be a wee thing in like, well, I've been the best manager, but I don't think we come out and say it, mate.
We commented if he plunge, he said, was this for your beloved BBC, JP? Different side of the BBC, to be fair with you, Plunge. The BBC Sports Sound lads, they do the Scottish Football podcast. So the guys that do the interviews for BBC, they don't work at that side of the department. So BBC are a big, massive company when it comes to the media side of things. But the Sports Sound team, they're a totally different outfit to the guys that interview like the managers after games. So, but it is the same company. I mean, they still operate under BBC, but it's a different department from the one that myself and Ryan managed to take it on and give our opinions on. Seems to be becoming more and more of a thing, Ryan, me and you getting in there with the boys. I
don't know if it's because I'm good looking a bit, mate, but I talk a lot of nonsense, so it's not
well, that. Can it be because of that for me? That's for sure. I look like I was Davy Weir's janitor at school.
Do you see me and you at the Wonderbar? If we'll get the 2 points in for a chat, may as well,
Aye. Me and you, Baz, one of the other boys, and we'll get big Philip Clement to complete a huddle with us for next year.
He's like, welcome in, boys.
What one's your table? The one John Suter left his tie in the Player of the Year awards last week. And we'll sit there, full of the stripy tie. Brilliant. No, listen, it's been another good chat tonight. Guys, hopefully we'll be seeing a wee bit merry now that your season's finished.
You will, mate. You will.
If you're not too busy, that is definitely.
No,
Because
I'll be on
I've
to
always,
whenever you need now, because these times are sound for me. Wayne's in bed, and I've not got anything on because the season's done. So
we're about to sack Ryan. Ryan's had enough this season. He's ready to. He's had a long season. He needs a rest. He's like my Ada. He'll be going to Japan next week to spend the weekend.
Either a holiday in Benidorm or Tenerife, I think, mate. I think that's calling soon, man.
don't be away for that, man.
He's the only guy I know. Him and Alan get 6 weeks annual leave every year, man.
And you spend 6.5 years in Benidorm.
Aye, 6.5 in Benidorm. Looking for Sticky Vicky.
Oh, Jesus, man. Oh,
But
man.
no, like I say, Ryan, obviously you'll second that, mate. It's great having Baz on and getting his views because you're talking to a guy that's he's on the pitch, he sees things that we don't.
Like I say, mate, you always come away from these podcasts about thinking about something about football, and like I didn't even think about what Baz says about the blockers and stuff like that. I didn't even realise that. But I'm not saying I don't know football, but I've not played football for about 9 years now, so I don't really know the inside some of the tactics of the day now and the way football's moving on and things like that. I didn't even realise that players, that's why they do zonal marking. I just thought that was what they do. Mark an area, mark a space. And I didn't realise it was blockers, and so it just shows you, mate, that it's three small things like that you pick up for guys that are playing at that level. And people might think it's nothing, but for me that's quite a big thing in defending, because if you've got that, then you're basically stopping a goal or defending a goal. But if you're marking, then I just thought, man, mark, you know who it is. There's a zonal, you mark a space, and the manager will take fault for it because he's put you in that space. So knowing me small things like that, mate, it's always a knowledgeable point. So it's always good to get Baz on, and his knowledge is insightful, mate, always.
That's why, mate, you're always welcome back, Baz.
Anytime.
Well, as I said, thank you tonight for everybody that's tuned in with us across the platforms. Hope you've had a great weekend. Cheers to our 3 callers, Francis, John M and Big Bev. Big Bev did look tired, I must be honest. He's probably about his scratcher now. He sounds like he's busy.
He's saying he's tired. It's probably Bevy last night he's done him in.
Aye. Well, his second name is Beveridge, so Big Beveridge was on a bevy.
I say Venom, he's on it.
Aye. They look like lime slushies.
Yeah, he actually looked like me last weekend, to be fair. 2 weeks ago.
Well, he did. That
Woof.
one with you and Alan, man, was woof, man. That group chat, man. I've still got some of the videos. Jesus.
That's what happens, you know, in Venom for 12 o'clock, mate. It's not good, man. Not good.
This way to the cup, by the way, that was a semi-final, Baz. This way to the cup final, and you'll see what videos you're getting in.
Oh, I'm on.
He said to me that he's off it, so we'll see.
I'm on coffee.
Me and my beef off it, so we're seeing who can get first.
By the way, you better get off of coffee because you're doing Manhattan already.
I'm on that.
You better take a Venom again.
What do you call them in Spain? The barraquitos. I'm on them now.
Barraquitos, aye.
A wee bit of cream in my coffee, and that's us, man.
Tremendous. Well, folks, take care, and we'll see you all again, probably midweek, and we'll have more to chat about on the Celtic. But for now, take care, hail, and we'll see you all again.
Hail.
Bye-bye.
See you later.